wondered why starting a task feels like climbing a mountain, even when you know it's incredibly important? You sit down, fully intending to be productive, but the sheer weight of the project makes your brain freeze instantly. So instead, you pick up your phone, looking for a quick escape, and suddenly your brain feels flooded with relief. Hours disappear into nothingness, leaving you trapped with a heavy wave of guilt as the day slips away completely. We call it laziness, but psychology reveals it is actually an emotional shield against stress, anxiety, and fear of failure. Deep inside, your brain is fighting a hidden war between immediate comfort and your long-term future goals. The chemical hits of instant gratification trap you in a dark cycle, keeping your true potential completely locked away. You tell yourself that tomorrow will be entirely different, trusting a future version of you that hasn't even been built yet. But without changing the underlying script, tomorrow simply becomes a repetitive replay of today's exhausting
We always
routine.
say tomorrow.
To break this cycle,
But
we
tomorrow
first need
is
to understand
now.
the dark trap
Let's
our
start
minds
today.
have quietly set up for us.
To understand this trap, we have to look inside the brain's primitive wiring, which evolved to seek immediate survival rewards over long-term dreams. When faced with a difficult task, your brain perceives the effort as a literal threat, activating a chemical defense mechanism that demands relief. It floods your system with dopamine the moment you switch to an easier, mindless activity, like scrolling through social media. This instant comfort acts like a drug, masking the underlying anxiety of the task you are actively avoiding. But this relief is an illusion, a temporary escape that leaves a heavy emotional debt waiting to be paid later. As the deadline creeps closer, that initial comfort warps into an overwhelming weight of guilt and self-reproach. Your logical mind knows you are hurting your future self, yet the primitive survival instincts keep you locked in place. This internal friction creates a toxic loop of stress, making the original task feel even more terrifying than it actually is. To break this deeply ingrained neurological habit, we have to stop treating procrastination as a moral failure and start seeing it as a design flaw in human psychology.
If procrastination is a design flaw in our psychology, then it means we can reverse engineer it to build a completely new operating system for our minds. The secret doesn't lie in pushing yourself through brutal willpower or punishing your mind with endless criticism. Instead, we have to change the way our brain scales the difficulty of the goals we set for ourselves. When you look at a massive project, your primitive brain instantly screams in terror and runs toward a comfortable digital distraction. But if you shrink that overwhelming task down to an incredibly small action, something so absurdly simple that it requires zero friction, the threat completely vanishes. This simple shift is what psychology experts refer to as the 5-minute rule, an elegant shortcut that completely bypasses your brain's internal defense systems. By choosing to step away from digital traps and allowing yourself a clean, quiet space to breathe, you can rebuild your focus, step by step. You stop fighting your inner anxiety like a bitter enemy, and instead treat it as a signal that you simply need to clear a better path forward. You pull yourself out of the passenger seat and grab hold of the wheel, directing your attention towards small, intentional choices. Every large breakthrough in your personal growth begins with a single tiny spark of focus that you choose to protect.
Ultimate breakthrough begins when you stop punishing yourself for the hours you've already lost. Forgiving your past self strips away the heavy layer of shame that makes starting a task feel so entirely draining. Instead of focusing on the mountain ahead, make a simple bargain with your mind. Commit to working for just 5 minutes. Tell yourself you are allowed to stop completely when the timer rings, completely removing the pressure of finishing the entire project. By hiding your digital distractions away, you create a frictionless environment where your mind can finally find peace. You aren't trying to achieve absolute perfection on your very first step. You are simply trying to break the heavy spell of inertia. Action creates momentum,
And once you get past that initial resistance, your brain begins to enjoy the rhythm of the work. Each tiny block of focused time acts like sand filling an hourglass, building up a steady foundation of self-trust. You bring your entire focus directly into the present moment.
You are no longer the person who waits for the perfect moment to start. You are the one who creates the moment yourself. By choosing to let go of the need for immediate perfection and embracing the simple, consistent act of showing up, you have fundamentally rewired your approach to life. The anxiety that once felt like a barrier is now just a signal, a reminder to pause, breathe, and break your goals into tiny, achievable steps. You have learned that the trap of procrastination wasn't a flaw in your character, but a temporary misalignment in your habits that you now fully command.
You have moved past the fear of failure and into the steady rhythm of growth, understanding that the journey itself is the reward. The path ahead is open, and you are ready to walk it with intention, courage, and a calm, centered heart. Your potential is no longer locked away. It is unfolding in every action you take. This is your new reality, one of purpose, progress, and lasting freedom. Stay focused, keep growing, and never forget that you hold the power to turn any tomorrow into your masterpiece.